What's up, guys, and welcome back to Paint Bravely, the podcast where you can find a little bit of encouragement, discover new ways to make your hobby more fun, and most importantly, learn to paint bravely. Now, there have been a few things that have happened since the last time we talked, but in true Paint Bravely fashion, I'm going to let you go first, Brent. So what have you been up to in the last few weeks?
Well, I've been thinking about if I learned anything over the past 2 weeks, Casey. I've been thinking if I, came up with any hot tips that might be worth sharing with the world and with our listeners. And I do think I have one. I mentioned it in a video a few weeks ago, but I think it's worth sharing again. This has to do with painting true metallic colors. So, ordinarily, I've been afraid of painting like steel and gold and stuff like that because I just seem to have terrible luck with getting them glommed up and, getting really weird textures, especially if I'm dealing with a big axe or a shield or something with a big flat area. And then you take, a lot of these typical acrylic metallic paints are just like a weird glitter paint, and sometimes they do what you want them to do, and sometimes they do not.
Yeah.
So, as I've gotten more experience and tried more products and evolved a little bit, I eventually came across what everybody says is the best metallic paint, and Vallejo metal color. This stuff gets a lot of good press, and this is half of my hot tip here. So this is still water-based acrylic. It's a very runny paint. It does tend to separate out a little bit, so it's got that shaker ball in there somewhere. And so this goes on smooth. It covers surprisingly well for how thin it is. The only problem, after you've got your nice smooth coat on your sword or whatever, a little bit runs over onto the hilt or a little bit runs over onto the hand. And this is much more apparent to me when I'm doing smaller details. If I'm doing a tiny belt buckle, if I'm doing some rivets, anything like that, some earrings.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, the runny, smooth nature of this is a huge problem. Yeah. And along those same lines, there are the alcohol-based Vallejo metal colors, or this is liquid silver here. You can get liquid gold, some other stuff. Thank you for demonstrating, Casey. If you are
I got liquid gold
near a computer and watching this on the Paint Bravely, the podcast YouTube channel, you can see Casey modeling all these different products.
Yes.
And if not, we'll try to describe in enough detail so you can really get the idea of what's going on. Okay, so we're in a situation here of almost too much of a good thing. We're getting those smooth, runny, metallic paints, and the answer is just to take a step backwards sometimes. You got your old glommy metallics. Hope you didn't throw those out, because those are still useful. That's what you use for rivets. That's what you use for nose rings. That's what you use for belt buckles. And, anything with that small of a surface area, you're not going to notice any weird textures. You're not going to get inconsistencies going on there. So, yeah, I've got in this new mode of I've got my nasty metallic paints, which actually have a use. Those are for tiny details. I've got my smooth metallic paints. Those are for broad areas. And, I think I'm on to something here. I think this is a hot enough tip that I'm ready to call it my hot tip of the week.
Oh, yeah? You're just going to... Well, all right, then.
Declare victory on that.
Yeah, I think I'm right there with you with the Vallejo metal color. That's certainly my go-to for everything. Like, everything gets a coat of that. So, the way that I counter the runniness is that I paint generally on like just like a paper surface, cardboard, paper, whatever. So I just dab a little bit off. You can do that on like a paper towel too, and that seems to fix that issue.
Okay.
Yeah, where it does run into a problem for me generally is dry brushing. It's really difficult to dry brush with the liquid metal because it's too watery. You're gonna take too much away. So yeah, that's where I bust out the old, plate mail from Army Painter to do some dry brushing. Yeah.
Or gunmetal. Yeah.
Or shining
absolutely.
silver. Ooh.
No, I hadn't thought about dry brushing specifically, but I'm sure I would have gotten to that point. I just haven't dry brushed metal for a little while.
Really?
I'm sure I would have gotten to that point where like, oh, this is absolutely not what I want to be using. But
yeah. Yeah. It does come up like, if you're doing like large metal, like if you're doing like tank undercarriages or, skeletons of, metallic whatevers, Necron in general. Yeah. Like the metal color looks really good as a base coat on Necron, but then you want to go that little bit step higher. Like you got to dry brush it with something. It's probably not going to be metal color. So yeah, it's a good place to go. I like it though. It's a good tip. Not bad.
Thank you, Casey. Thank you, Casey. So what have you been up to the last week or two here, buddy?
Well, okay, that's a lot. I was going to lie, but yeah, so as previously mentioned in the last podcast, I was expecting a child and a child has arrived. And yeah, it's good. A lot of people have been doing the congratulations, all the stuff. It's really nice of everybody, which it's weird how many people, because it's not like I know anybody of them, most of them,
We have lots of internet friends, and
yes.
all of them have congratulated you, and I have also congratulated you, but here on film, again, congratulations. I'm glad you got a happy, healthy little family going there.
Yeah, everybody's healthy, no issues. Actually, this time around was a lot easier than last time around. So, like, things are, I don't know. It feels weird because like I feel like I can get back to work. I can start doing things again, but then it's kind of like, well, no, not really. Because like my wife is still post-op, right? Like she just was in surgery a couple days ago. So yeah, it's like, I don't know. It's just a big difference from last time, and I'm wanting to get into painting more minis. Yeah. I don't know. I'm also really
you're
tired.
A week out from the birth of your daughter, and you're just really wanting to get back to painting minis.
Well, last time, like we took my son home, and I was painting models like that day. I was in it. I was so tired, like I was wrecked. But I was like, I had my tray out, and I'm like, I'll paint swords. Cool. Like, let's knock out 20 swords and call that a day. And this time it's like, I don't know, like I'm exhausted. This is actually like the second attempt of recording this podcast. Not that we actually got into recording it, but I was like, all right, cool, I'm ready. And then I was like, no, I can't. See you tomorrow. It's unpredictable.
No, you said I can record in like an hour or so, and that would mean for me starting recording at 1:30 in the morning. And
yeah, that's not
my
great.
sleep schedule's messed up, but there are some lines I'm not quite ready to cross yet. So that was
even for me. I was like, this is a terrible idea. Like I haven't gotten any sleep as it is. It's gonna be dumb. So just the normal baby things, getting back into just being at home, doing the stuff again. So I have been putting together my Cursed City box set. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. I got 2 characters done so far, but they are based and primed. So like it's a little more than just building them. Like I feel good about it.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've been working a lot on that. I went ahead and I found I just went through like all of my collection, right? And I started looking for stuff that's like, it's been sitting around, it's just plastic. If it was going to be on the channel or not, whatever it was going to be, I decided to just prime everything. So I went through, I don't know, a couple hundred models and just, I primed. Like I bought rattle can primer just to do it all, so I didn't have to sit there with the airbrush for so long. And I just busted out like just a ton of models. So I've got a lot to do and no time to do it in.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting the way we spend our time. Like in your case, you're not going to probably paint all 200 models of those at once. Probably you're still mostly going one by one. So in a sense, you used your extremely valuable time to kind of work on 199 projects that are still going back in your drawer for a little while. So
yeah, that's true. They do look better though.
So that's one way to look at it, Casey.
Yeah. I mean, I've probably bit off a lot more than I can chew. So, yeah, like all the stuff, all the projects that I got into, I'm now looking at like, I'm never going to finish these, like all of this stuff. I have all these ideas.
I'm just giving you a hard time. That is very much something I do. I am always working on multiple projects at once, and sometimes yeah, it'd be a whole lot easier just to focus in on a single model and get really into it and get it done.
Yeah,
that's not always what happens.
No, that's true. There's something to be said for batch painting and quick, like almost speed painting, if you will, just to get something done too. Especially if you're specifically strictly playing a model in an army just to put it on the table. Like, it does not have to be the most gloriously painted model you've ever done. Like, it's so far from almost even mattering at that point. Like, as long as there is paint on that model and you like tried a little bit, you know, it's good.
Yeah, there's something to be said for done, and you can tell that you tried a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. I'd say a little bit of effort, but
yeah, a little bit.
All you need. Yeah.
So we just mentioned the Cursed City box there. So this is Games Workshop's most recent edition of the Warhammer Quest line. Yeah. And
if you want to call it that.
I ended up saying Quest line, but anyway.
I mean, it kind of is, right?
Never mind. Your brain will catch up, so will mine.
I got it. I know
so anyway, it's a box with 50 or 60, plastic minis in there. There's some heroes, there's some villains, there's some vampires. And then there's chits and little bits of tile for making a game board out of. So like a lot of different dice. A rule book, which at this point, 10-15% chance I ever crack that rule book open. I mean, never say never, but
I'm telling you, I'll do it for you, and then we'll play a game. You don't even have to worry about it.
Let me know what's in there. Let me know if the game's any good.
I'll get you.
We'll see.
No worries.
But yeah, there's a ton of cool models in that box, and so my question to you is what's your plan with this thing? Is this a distraction? Is this
I mean, a little bit. For a long time before COVID, my wife and I used to do a game night every Saturday. So it was open, whoever wanted to come, just out of any of the people that we know, that they know, whatever, they want to bring somebody new. As long as you bring some kind of like shareable food item, then you drop in, we've got food and drinks, and we'll, go through a bunch of games and play something. So it's nice to have, like, we have a lot of board games, just a lot. So, once things get back to a little more normal, I guess, like, I'd like to start doing that again, just because like game night was a really nice thing to look forward to every week. And you kind of never knew who would show up. So it's like kind of a crapshoot. Like most of the time we ended up just playing Munchkin, but right. I've got the 40K version of Munchkin and the Age of Sigmar version. It's like, I felt like, okay, well, these might get played, so I'm going to buy them. I still haven't played them, but eventually.
I mean, I think yeah, for a game night thing, I think those are solid possibilities. You know, another couple comes over or something. Sure, get some Munchkin. You got your Cards Against Humanity. Those are easy. This Warhammer Quest game, that's it's a lot of chits.
Oh yeah,
it's a lot of dice.
Oh yeah,
and that rule book is more than one page. So good. Yeah, hey, paint them all up, and we'll see if you ever get anyone to play with you, Casey.
So that's the thing. Like we have different kinds of friends, right? Like some night it'll be like, oh, there's 20 people here, and we're just doing something like Munchkin, you know, or there's just 2 people here, and we're gonna do something like Gloomhaven, which is a lot more difficult, guaranteed, than Curse City.
Okay.
So I'm hoping that, I don't know, how do you put it, like post-COVID, maybe, if we ever get around that benchmark. You know, we'll get back to something like that. I am hopeful. I want to play this game. I bought it to play, and also because the models are pretty sweet, and I'd like to paint them someday.
Hey, whatever excuse you need to paint those models. I'm just thinking back to game nights where I could not get anybody to learn the game Citadels, which is a card game with maybe, I think it just has 1 deck of cards, maybe it has 2 deck of cards and gold pieces, and that's it.
And nobody
and I could not get anyone to learn. Yeah. And
you read the rule book on that one and everything.
At the time, I'm pretty sure I knew the rules, but yeah. So I'm looking forward to see what you do with Cursed City. You know, we don't need to dive into this too much, but there's, you know, the latest PR disaster from Games Workshop is so, you know, Warhammer Quest Cursed City, they hyped it way up, and they said that, you know, they'd be supporting this for years, implied that there might be expansions to it. It sold out in the first day of pre-order, like the first 10 minutes of pre-order. Yeah. And then all of a sudden they deleted it from their web store, deleted all social media posts that implied or explicitly said that it would be supported for years to come.
Right.
And did not put out a press release, but there was one reply to a reply on Twitter or Facebook or something
from whoever's running the community Twitter or whatever.
Yeah, said it is no longer in the store and we don't expect it to return, but we're pretty sure there's a lot of copies out in the wild and in various, you know, local game stores. So good luck. And yeah, it was one of those situations. I mean, they did sell a lot of them. There are a lot of them out there, but
there are,
it's one of those things that, man, if they stop supporting a game before it's even officially been released,
right,
man, that's going to be harder to get anyone to play with you at game night. Like that gets back to trying to get someone to play more time with you at game night, except there's no nostalgia. I don't know.
I mean, I'd love to track down a good copy of More Time. Like, I really would. That'd be great.
I don't even know what the box set of that looked like, but
I don't know either.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I'm a little bit salty on this one because, you know, they did send me a review copy, which was cool, and there's a lot of cool models in there. And so I did make a video hyping up some of the cool models in there. Yeah. And then now I'm like complicit in the terrible PR disaster of overhyping a game that they apparently did not intend to support. So as we're recording this podcast, I should say it's been 5 or 6 days since this game just disappeared from their website. Like, not only sold out, but like they deleted the posting of it ever existing.
The only thing left on the store is the novel that just says it's sold out.
Yeah, that's the model. The novel contains no models and is also sold out anyway.
Right, it's sold out, but it does contain a card for a model, but no model. And I'm not sure why. I'm not sure if it's one of those like, oh, this character's in the book but not in the box, so you can kit bash your own or something, or which would be weird for GW, but welcomed at the same time. I don't know. Like they did a really good job at making this game sound really cool. And they did everything right up to pre-release. I can't for the life of me figure out why a company would go through that kind of like PR campaign, just an entire marketing campaign all across every platform they can get to, and then kill it. Like, why would you do that to yourself?
Well, so I will say at this point, and so we're, like I said, we're 5 or 6 days after this just disappearing from the web store entirely, and like there being strong implications that they killed it. But I'll say we've been 5 or 6 days, several of them like work days, where they have not had a press release saying anything.
That's true.
So there's been no press release.
There was
honestly,
there was
like thing. what I would expect them to say is, the logical thing to say is, we sold out of this way faster than we expected to. We're glad this is so popular. Sorry, we've been having supply issues because of Brexit, the Suez Canal, and COVID. We will try to make more. It might be a while, but we're going to be making more, and we're excited to get this to you as soon as we can. We appreciate your patience.
Right, the normal
that is
thing that you do.
Yeah,
when you're making money.
I'm not a press release writer, but like no charge. Take that. Just
right. Yeah, I'll do it for you. Just give me a password to your
my words
Twitter
and get
account.
rid of the typos and
right.
Before, we're recording this podcast, maybe before the podcast goes live, they will have put out exactly that press release, we should say.
That is a good point, actually.
I don't know if it's been 5 or 6 days with just complete silence, and the most complete answer on this topic is a reply on Twitter. It's not great. And again, like I'm a bit salty that they made me complicit in this mess.
Right.
And so, like I said, there's been 5 or 6 days of bad PR now, and that's trickled down into a little bit of people posting on my videos like, you shill.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Oh, the YouTubers get a copy of the game, but nobody else does. Or,
right. That does bother me a little bit, because like there are legitimate, like I could go to my store right now and get a copy. Like they're not straight up sold out all over the place. Like there are ways. Like I got my copy on eBay for less from a store who just ordered a bunch because they were expecting to have that happen. And like I know that the prices have gone up on like a lot of those, the resellers and stuff like that. People taking advantage of the situation again, just like Indominus. It's gonna happen, but it's like, again, GW is creating this situation. Like seemingly on purpose, because it creates buzz and hype and all of these things. So for a lot of Games Workshop products, they're clearly playing around with fear of missing out marketing. Yes, they're very good at
They
it.
very frequently switch out, what boxes different things come in, and it's pretty common that products leave the shelves after a year, or sometimes, for some of those battle boxes, like they sell out instantly, or they're gone in a month or whatever. And so for a lot of their products, they clearly are playing around with fear of missing out.
Yeah.
It seemed like Cursed City, as the new flagship Warhammer Quest product, was something that they were going to support, because they explicitly said that they were going to support it. Because they actually before they deleted all of those comments.
Good point there.
And so there's been several days of bad PR, which has leaked on over to me, which I don't like that stuff in Goobertown.
No, of course not. I mean, it's honestly, it's just stupid anyways that somebody would actually go to you and say something about it. Like, come on, really?
So
Like, come on.
yeah, so when this happens with, you know, our little corner of the world and our little niche, and when there is just a tiny bit of drama, sometimes I get a bee in my bonnet and I sit down and I like start writing a script, and I'm like
Curse
yeah.
City is.
So, well, no, I do this somewhat frequently. I maybe every other month or so,
Like
there'll
aggressive
just be in my
journaling.
Google Drive folder,
Sure, yeah.
like an angry Goobertown
Yeah.
script,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then like I calm down a little bit. I don't post it. It's a good way to sort through feelings, but I think this one had the title "How GW Squanders Limitless Free Media," or
Yeah, it's like, I like that title. It's a good title.
it's a good title. I went through a couple iterations, but I think, and I had some good stuff to say, but how this cycle has been playing out is that I'm like, you know what? That would be a couple days of work to put that video out and deal with the blowback, and I got some models to paint here. We gotta focus on what's important.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, I can instead of making this video, I can just complain on Paint Bravely the podcast for 5 minutes.
That's exactly true.
Yeah,
that's why we made
thank
this
you.
platform.
By the way, listeners, we appreciate you. We try to keep you entertained while you're painting, but you provide a valuable service to us as well. For listening to us sort through our hot tips and our hot emotions.
Exactly. Get a little tempered there.
Yeah. So, well, that's all I had to say about Curse City. I will say, after the PR disaster, I am less excited about painting the models, because it's like, and even for the game
now. Not for like personal reasons, but like, what's the point of putting it on your channel?
So there is a little bit of that. Like, now any of those models are going to get the occasional comment of
right
angry people, but also just going from the hot new model to an out of print model.
Yeah,
I got plenty of out of print goblins I could be painting.
Yeah, like roulette all over the place.
Well, although that box is good for roulette, and hopefully you'll see what I'm talking about real soon. Although also I recorded that roulette intro before the PR disaster, and look, I'll get over it. You don't need to worry about me.
It'll be fine. Like, the models are sweet, and if you got them, like, congratulations.
Exactly. Yes, the models, nothing can take that away from the models. The models are sweet.
Yeah. You can still buy the models on eBay. It's like singles, because so many people have bought a bunch of boxes and just started splitting them up and selling them.
Yeah, hey, pro scalper here, right?
Well, I mean, people have been doing that for a while, right?
No, splitting boxes is common practice, and if you're going to have such a diversity of models in one big expensive box, you're going to have box splitters.
Oh yeah, and there's a lot. Like, I get notifications for Curse City like at least a couple hundred every day for new listings. New models have gone up, so yeah, it's a little up and down right now. But
maybe that's why you're having time management issues there, Casey.
What?
You're just plugged into the matrix of eBay notifications for plastic figurines, past and present.
I mean, it's kind of true. Like, I get a lot of weird notifications because I haven't bothered to turn half of them off. Like, I'm still getting Vlad von Karstein notifications. Like, ooh, that one's only $25. Like, yeah, let's do that. Wait, I already did that. I painted that model. I don't need to have that notification anymore. Yeah.
This is a beautiful Mephiston. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I get a lot of crap over that.
I've already got some Mephistons, but you don't see that price every day.
Well, but that's the thing. That one that I bought, there's a bunch of people telling me that that's not Mephiston. Like, even though I've heard from several sources, people who, I mean, I guess it's speculation, but that it fits. And then a bunch of other people who are like, no. So I don't know the answer. I don't know.
We're all trying to figure this out.
Yeah, that's true.
So have you had any sweet purchases lately? I mean, you said you stopped by your store and got some Cursed City, but what else?
Yeah, so I picked up
any actual good pulls from eBay or anything?
Yeah, so I got it right here. This is actually, I don't know if it's gonna come out. Okay. You'll know by the time this podcast comes out if the video came out. I'm hoping. There's a 50-50 chance that I'll be awake for that. But I picked up the cheapest model on eBay. Again. Right? In this
99 cents plus shipping?
No, I wish it was. This was like $6. I haven't been able to get any at that 99 cents. Just everybody bids. It doesn't matter. They bid. So the lowest I've been able to get is like what? I think the first one was like $5 or something. This one's like $6. I picked this guy up for like $4. An old high elf archer with a super derpy paint job. But that was super cheap. This was the cheapest model. So it was like I got this guy, then I got this guy a couple days later. Right? So it's like, I'm trying to stockpile some of the cheapest models on eBay. But I'm finding it really interesting because the first time I did it, it was like a Chaos Sorcerer, like a really cool looking one. And it's like, okay, why is this so cheap? Because they're still usable models. They're still playable in the game right now. Like, I don't know if they're good for the meta or whatever, but like they're still playable models and they're $5 on eBay. It's weird, right? And they're old pewter models. Well, I picked up this guy, which is a Corn Champion. It was sculpted by Jess Goodwin in 1988. And it's got all the stuff on there. I found it in an old ass GW catalog. It wasn't even GW, it was Citadel. Right? Citadel models. And it's sweet. And it was like $5-6. That's like, how is this the cheapest model on eBay? It's nuts to me. It's super, super random, and it's just, they're really cool. So kind of like finding this weird area of eBay that just has these kind of like little nuggets in them. And I'm trying to get that painted this week. Obviously, like, it's kind of a work in progress that I'm holding up. I got like the red armor down, and I'm doing like the white to blue power sword to fit the Corn army that I have. But like, yeah, that's kind of crazy, man. Like, who gives up a model like that for nothing? It's just crazy to me.
I mean, was that buy it now, or
it was buy it now?
Just nobody bidding?
No, it was buy it now.
Oh, it was buy it now.
Yeah,
okay.
For like ease of just picking up a model that is actually the cheapest. It's not like a by chance thing. It's this is actually the cheapest thing that I could buy right now. So,
hey, if anyone was getting rid of that model, they didn't know the true value. They're all onto plastic minis at this point, and they're like, "What is this old piece of crap?"
That might be the case too. But
that's like, where you swoop in.
Wait till you see this model. Like, it is stupid. Like, it is so stupid. Like, it's a cyborg model, which I need to look, or I need somebody to clarify what that is for like Rogue Trader era stuff. Because there's some specific rule about cyborgs for most models. And I guess that was better if they had that upgrade. I don't know why. Okay. I don't have any books that go back
maybe later
that far.
I'll pull out my Rogue Trader rule book here.
Oh, there you go.
We'll look up
that would be cool.
Let me go get that rule book.
Okay. All right. While Brent's leaving, I don't really have anything to say this week. I'm too tired to really make something up. He still hasn't really talked about the medical experiments. I think we should be bringing that up more often. It seems like the thing to bring up when he's not paying attention. He's not quite up on it. He's coming back, so we'll have to think of something. You good?
I'm good.
You're good. He's good.
Noticed you stopped talking right as soon as I put my headphones on, but that's to be expected, I think.
To be expected, maybe. It's telling the dog to leave the room. All right, so Brent's got the old Rogue Trader book. So this is a Corn Champion, or a Chaos Champion. Sweet.
Yeah, I have no idea where the index is in this thing.
The back?
Oh yeah, we're not finding this information anytime soon, so
Okay.
we're not gonna make you wait for it. But
That's fine.
if you wait till next time on Paint Bravely, the podcast, episode 31,
or
maybe one of us will figure out what a cyborg is in relation to Rogue Trader Corn Champions.
right.
Jess Goodwin.
Yeah.
All right, let's move it along, Casey. So I talked to some of my real life friends recently, and I actually got my first dose of the vaccine a couple of days ago.
Right, yeah.
Looking forward towards the future, which
Whew.
has to be brighter than the present. And
it has to be.
So, starting to talk to friends again, like, hey, like
Making plans.
we might actually be able to get together and hobby and play again soon. And you know what these guys say to me? Me, who they know has occasionally been painting a Chaos Army for Age of Sigmar.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
They say to me,
they've seen videos, I imagine.
Yeah, I mean, they see me doing videos of things that are not painting anything that'll ever end up with on a game table with them. But
okay, sure. But still.
Occasionally they see me painting Chaos Warriors so that I can play a fully painted, beautiful game of Age of Sigmar with them.
2,000 points. All
And
right,
I'm like,
let's do it.
hey, yeah. So I'm talking to these guys. I'm like, hey, Alex. Hey, Mark. You guys ready? Like, how's your vaccinations coming? How are you doing? Like, long time. We could have been talking this whole time. We haven't really been, but what's going on? And you know what they say to me? How many points of 40K do you have ready to go? Every time.
Bunch of dicks.
Every time.
Oh, yeah.
It, like clockwork. Like, I just...
Like, it's...
And, I mean, this has been going on, off and on for 20 years. It's just every time it flips with these.
Yeah. Is this why
jokers.
you don't have a full, 2,000 points painted? Is this why?
I mean, it's not the whole reason, but I can put some of the blame on Mark and Alex on this one. I'm sure we're getting close on the Chaos Warriors, guys. Look, if you want to go up against my 6 really shoddy raiders with dark lances full of Dark Eldar warriors with more dark lances,
Yes.
Let's go.
Right there. I mean, I'm down. Like, that sounds great. Is that even viable anymore? It's like, can you do that?
So related, the other day I actually did go to my local game store to pick up a new codex for the Drukari, so I can get apparently back into these Dark Eldar maniacs. And yeah, so every 3 years I buy a new codex and play about 2 games, and here we are again.
Right.
So look, I'm being a little bit bitter today, and I'm sorry. I gotta recognize what's going on and try to goose fraba and just chill out a little bit. Take a chill pill. And Casey, what's going on with you? Tell me something happy.
Something happy. I mean, I thought I did. I don't know. Let's go in for a hot tip. How about that? It's a nice happy hot tip. I like that. Just to shake things up a bit. Okay. So you know how when you get a box of models and you get a bunch of different bases and you're not sure which one is what millimeter, whatever. Well, it turns out in most all of the instruction books for models in, Games Workshop boxes, there is a handy dandy chart that you can cut out and keep in your hobby workspace. And it has cut out, it actually has the ring sizes of the bases that you just set the base on. It goes, that's a 32 mil base. That's a 28 mil base. And you can kind of just keep that in your hobby space at all times. I think Brent's going to check to see if I'm right. Is that one of the newer boxes of Chaos Warriors? Wrong. What do you mean?
This is a 2019 Start Collecting box for Warhammer Age of Sigmar, Slaves to Darkness. If you are watching on the YouTube channel, you can see that there are pictures, but no circles on the back of this box.
Talking about in the book.
Here's the side.
In the book, Brent.
Here's the other side.
In the book to build models.
This might hold true with other boxes where they have, less models to put on the back. Or maybe they've got, maybe this is just like a 2020 kind of release.
It's possible. I also said book several times. Book.
I didn't hear that.
I know. That's fine. All right, moving on. Another hot tip. If you want to chip your models like weathering, use hairspray. Hairspray is an awesome way to chip your models and weather them. So you lay down like a layer of, say, brown on your tank, then you let that dry. You spray it down with hairspray, let that dry, and then you do your paint job over the top of that. When you're ready to start weathering your model, you just get like a brush with a little bit of water or a Q-tip or something. You start lightly scraping away. Once the paint starts getting wet, the layer of hairspray starts to activate underneath the layer of paint. So it's easy to just chip it right off. It's a really cool way to do weathering.
I actually haven't heard that tip before.
No?
No, I'm kidding. I've never done that tip before, though.
It's like I'm pretty sure you've seen it. I'm pretty sure you've seen me do it.
I've never done that tip myself.
Never tried it
Is this
before?
one you're just pulling back from the memory banks?
Yeah, pretty much.
You haven't done this lately, have you?
No. Actually, I did buy some chipping medium, and I was gonna do like a little comparison just to see which I like better. Because apparently chipping medium has a little more control over it. Like you can get smaller chips. Whereas the spray paint or the hairspray is a little bit more like a random. It could be small, it could be large, depending on how much water you put on there and how much like pressure you apply, that kind of thing. So, having a more uniform spray pattern gives you smaller chipping. So, if you are actually using hairspray, if you use hairspray out of like a spray, like a push spray bottle, you're gonna get larger globs of that somewhere on the model. Like it's gonna disperse in different ways. So the chipping is not gonna be super uniform. But if you use like an aerosol version, it's a little more uniform that way. Or you use chipping medium, which is more consistent overall. So it depends on what you want to do. But I was just thinking about that the other day because, that's what I do. I sit around sometimes when I'm in the hospital having, new baby sleeping there. And I'm just like, chipping medium. Yeah. That's for real what happened. I was just sitting there.
Some shower thoughts right there.
Basically, yeah. Like wherever I am, it's hobby thoughts.
Okay. Hey, combined, I think we'll call that a success for hot tips of the day.
I'd say. So there's a few good tips in there. I do have one more tip that I feel a little more obligated to throw out there.
Okay.
But I should load that up and come back to it for later. Because I have to mention a name, and I need to look that name up before.
Okay, we're gonna hold on that, but Casey does have another hot tip that he owes to us. So don't forget, dear listener. I'm gonna do my best to hold him to it.
You should.
So as I fill time here, I don't know if this is really a hobby tip. It's kind of an idea that came to me that I think is actually working out all right.
Okay.
Now, dear listener, I have something to tell you. Bubbles the beta has passed.
Oh.
It was his time. About 3 weeks ago, it was his time. But I want you all to know that he lived for a few months in a 15-gallon tank with a heater and a filter and everything, and had a little stump that he liked to hang out in, and I fed him most days, I think, and he had like a little plastic plant, and it was just his time. And now I have an empty 15-gallon aquarium, and I think that's actually going to be pretty good for putting minis in. So here's the deal. If you need a display case for collectibles, spoons, miniatures, statuettes...
Spoons.
I mean, essentially what you want is a display case, something to keep the dust off, and that has at least one clear side, and if it has more clear sides, even better. That's actually kind of what an aquarium is.
Yeah,
It's a big
square display.
Keeps the dust out, and it displays the contents of that box.
Yeah.
And so, I've got this 15-gallon tank, which is 2 feet by kind of 1 foot by 1 foot is roughly the dimensions there.
Yeah.
And, I have it on top of a dresser right now, actually, but, a kind of a tabletop display case. And I've been playing around with it, and actually got a mirror cut. If it was a little less scratched up, I think using mirror spray paint would actually be pretty good. But sometimes, with display cases, like the bottoms and the backs have a mirrored finish, which just makes them look a little more professional. And in this case, I do want to disguise at least a little bit the fact that it is a fish tank.
Right.
So
yeah.
So there's a couple ways to do that. One, I have it turned on its on its front, basically.
Okay.
So that the open top is facing out, and then I can put a door or a panel on top of that, like a clear panel on top of that. You certainly could do it just right side up fish tank, open the fish tank lid, put your minis in.
That's what I was thinking at first. I'm like,
on top.
You know, not gonna fit many minis in there.
Well, you can. I do have like a little shelf built right now, and of course you could go online and order like some acrylic display shelves. To put some tiers in there. And it's not a huge space, but you probably fit a decent amount of minis in there.
Yeah.
Especially if you have some shelves in there. But I played around with having the open part of the tank either on the top, on the bottom, on the side, on the other side. And I think I have a setup that pretty much works. Got a little shelf in there, got some mirrored surfaces in there, and still have the fish tank light. And I mean, yeah, you can tell it's a fish tank, but it also just looks cool on its own. So
yeah,
I think this will eventually be a video on Goobertown Hobbies, but I did want to level with you and let you know that Bubbles passed. And, that one video where I briefly had Bubbles in a teeny tiny aquarium cup,
it was a cup.
Receptacle, prison.
Plastic bag.
Yeah. That video recently, nobody's been watching that video for a while.
It's
but
been
like
a minute, yeah.
Yesterday someone commented on it, did the fish die? And I didn't respond to that comment. The answer is yes.
Man.
But I think they would have taken that the wrong way, because like the full and complete answer is yes, the fish died.
After time
but he
passed,
spent
right.
his final months in a much larger aquarium.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel like typing all that out, so I just
right, of course.
I'm just gonna leave that person in suspense if they are listening to Paint Bravely the podcast. Yeah, Bubbles, his time was up.
Yeah,
and that's the
it's
way
life.
it goes sometimes. It's life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Brent. That sucks.
No, look. I don't know if this is going to come across the like the wrong way.
We had an entire episode
a little bit
about
of me
this.
was
I think
like,
we're fine on how you feel about it. A little
bit
fish.
of me was nice, empty aquarium.
Right.
What could
next project?
Bubbles' story has come to a close, but the story of this fish tank has just begun.
Yeah.
As life goes on.
I mean, I don't know. It's a weird thing. Like I've had like different lizards and like a tarantula, and they all share the same, aquarium. So yeah, it kind of does feel like that. Like, oh, that's too bad. What do we do next?
Well, it's been a while since I've had a hamster,
Right.
But,
so switch it up.
I think I'm going to put some tanks in there. Yeah.
Yeah. So no, I feel it's fine. That's not weird.
Yeah. Look, my cat Snuffles is sitting in front of the camera right now, and Snuffles doesn't necessarily know it, but she replaced Mittens, and
right.
Mittens was not gone for very long before it got Snuffles.
Right. Yeah.
And You know, I got to tell you, Whiskers was gone for even less time before I got Gordon.
Really?
So, yeah.
Just swap them out.
Life goes on.
Yeah.
And you fill that hole inside you with
a cute kitten.
Whatever you have to do, whether that's buying models or or discount cats at the shelter or whatever it is for you. Yeah.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
So I've been stalling here, Casey, to give you some time.
I've been ready.
You have promised me and the listeners a further hot tip of the day.
Yes. All right, so on my my Patreon Discord server, one of the people on there was like just talking about some stuff, and they were showing pictures of some like bits being held up by little domes. I was like, well, you know what is that? That was really cool. So, they also sent a picture of a paintbrush being held in one of them. You know the little the like cable organizers that you can buy that have like double-sided sticky tape on them, and it's just like a little channel kind of like comes up into like a little pinchy point where you force the wire to go through, and it just holds it there like on your desk. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he's got, and I'll send Matt the picture so he can put it up on the YouTube channel so you can see what I'm talking about. But there's a couple of bits being held in some so that, you know, they can either dry or you know, be ready to be painted or whatever. But the important one was the paintbrush. I thought this was really cool because it's like I have spots for my paintbrushes, but I don't really have like a holder for my paintbrushes. And that just seems like a good way to do it. You're like, okay, well, you know, it's sitting there like nice, and you could have it flat if you wanted. You could hang it upside down like they say you're supposed to. Like, whatever. That seems like a good way to go. So I feel like that's a pretty useful way to like organize some stuff. You can put like some brushes up on the wall, right? Have a little organized thing, and you know. Yeah, I know the thing will be like, oh, but what if they just slip right through? It's like, okay, take a little rubber band, right? Put it on the end. It'll just hang there. Just hang there. You got your brushes right there. So I don't know. I thought that was a really cool thing. Had a lot of uses, different things you could just come up with. And that was from Shay Chan from my Discord. Thank you for that sweet hot tip. I don't know.
It's cool when everything has their perfect place. And when you're organizing and putting stuff away, if you know exactly where something goes, that's a big plus.
It's good. I like that. I like knowing where things are.
Yeah, I think that was a pretty good tip right there.
I thought so. I thought it was cool. And since they just did mention it on the Discord not too long ago, I was like, I asked if I could use it as a hot tip for the podcast. You know, I was like, yes, that's a good tip. So
very good.
Rubber cable organizers. Definitely look into that. I actually have some somewhere around here. So I have to find them and put some up.
Well, organizing your cables is good to do anyway.
Yeah.
But I think that closes this section here. Do we want to get into the meat of the day?
The main
bit?
Yeah, if you want to call it that.
It's what you've all been waiting for.
The thing you don't know what we're talking about, if we're ever going to get there or not.
Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't, but I think we've got time for it.
I think so. I wasn't sure how long this particular podcast was going to run.
We never know.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we do a pretty good job of maintaining. I could have given
Bubbles a 20-minute eulogy, but I didn't.
Now, see, that would have been a podcast. Next time on Paint
Stick around to the end, dear listener.
So, of course, the main topic that we want to talk about was how to maximize kind of your hobby time, like workflow and what you do with your free time, and how to get the most out of your hobby. From my perspective with a new child, I'm finding it difficult to focus on the free time that I do have and how to maximize that. So I thought if we went through a few different things, that might help some people, you know, and myself, selfishly enough, but still other people. you know? Yeah.
Yeah, time management and finding the time to do the things you want and accomplishing as much as you wanted to do in a day is a struggle that we all face. And man, this last year of quarantine here, I am a fun employed YouTuber, and I pretty much work on, work or am somehow engaged in doing stuff for the YouTube channel all day, every day, to,
Yeah.
except I clearly waste some time in there. Clearly a lot of time in there
Clearly.
because
Clearly.
the output is never what I expect or intend or wish for, or
Right.
so yeah, for me, I have basically no excuses. I don't leave the house. I have no particular engagements of any kind. I just uh literally all I do is work on this hobby, and still it goes pretty slowly at times. So
Mm-hmm.
we should talk. All of us can improve. All of us can think of ways to do better, but we want to talk partially for ourselves and partially in case we have any nuggets of advice for all of you listening at home about how to better manage our time and how to kind of engineer our lives just a little bit to make sure that we are getting some hobby done.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I suppose a lot of this main topic is a little bit of like just tricks, I suppose. Almost kind of like some hot tips. Some
Hey,
quick tricks.
yeah.
Like I do notice that like if we want to start off with like a hobby space, right? A lot of people if you don't have a hobby space, or if you have to move your hobby space, it has to be set up, torn down. Obviously, that's going to make it way more difficult to get into the hobby. So finding a more permanent solution to your hobby space, where to put that, even if it just means the box goes here every time, so that you know where to grab it, when to grab it, whatever. That's going to start you on the right path, I think, to being able to hobby more often, because I want to come at this like, if you're even just struggling to just get stuff done on a normal basis, right? Because we all started there with the little like lunchbox of paints and a brush, So yeah, even if you just know where your stuff is, that's gonna get you going on the right foot. So yeah.
I think a lot of these tips do involve lowering the barriers to getting something done. So ideally, if you have a dedicated desk or whatever, and you have all your paints and brushes and water and primed minis sitting right there, ideal.
Yeah.
And you've mentioned before that, yeah, any time you do have just a little bit of time to kill, or you're waiting for somebody to get ready to get in the car, or you're waiting for a child to wake up and start crying, or whatever the case may be,
Yeah.
you got a little time, and it's if it is quick and not a hassle to put on a coat of paint, wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, if your brush is already out and you got water in your pot, you're basically ready to go. I do like to keep some minis around that are already primed and ready to go, just in case. Because you never know. Like I can get a shoulder pad done in 10 minutes. Let's do that. That sounds cool. Yeah.
So, I've been keeping up with the hobby streak posts.
Yeah.
So if you are willing to touch a form of social media, and you are fine with just spamming once a day, hobby streak day, whatever, I did this. And that at least makes sure that you are thinking about the hobby and thinking about whether you can accomplish something every day.
Mm-hmm.
And of course you can tweak the the exact setup of the way you do this however you want, but
Mhm.
I've been posting on Twitter every day. It's like the only thing I post on Twitter, but hashtag hobby streak day. I'm at 180 something, so about half a year right now.
Yeah.
And some days it's pretty shoddy, or some days it's not exactly related to the
I
hobby.
organized my papers today.
Hey, that's all right. I did a voiceover recording for my YouTube channel, which is all tied up in the hobby for me. But
Oh yeah.
If anything that's remotely related to the hobby, and to a degree, that's actually pretty important. That at least means you don't have several days without doing anything, or several days without it being top of mind.
Yeah.
In terms of making steady progress on whatever painting project you're working on, at least making sure that you are actively thinking about it once a day, and just getting on to. I use Twitter because I care about it absolutely the least. Like I'm somewhat trying to cultivate followers on Instagram. Obviously, I care about YouTube. I do not care about Twitter.
It's all the
If you
same
follow me,
people,
cool.
too.
I try to post pictures of what I'm working on.
Yeah.
Like
That's the thing.
if I can post like a fun picture along with what I'm working on, cool. But thank you for following me. But just know that I'm posting there because I don't care about Twitter.
Right.
That is the one that I spam with garbage. But
You do get a lot of
but me
retweets
posting,
and a lot of hearts. Like there's a lot going on your Twitter feed.
yeah, I appreciate that, and maybe you guys will pull me in. And if you do, shame on you. But,
Right. Just one more thing you got to deal with. If anything,
one
like
more thing.
a good, I don't know if you want to call it a hot tip for hobbying, like get rid of at least half of the social media accounts that you currently hold to just work on like one thing. If it's Instagram,
if you can type the following sentences into social media, you can get yourself banned, and we won't have to worry about this.
Right. Yeah, it's just like it's too much to keep up on. Like to try and dedicate time to a social media account, like, yeah, I don't know. It just seems excessive and honestly a waste of time in general. If you're actually in it across multiples, right? Because you're spreading yourself
Across
too thin,
multiples, yeah.
anyways. Like to be that effective. It's a whole other topic.
Yeah,
But
so I have been enjoying Instagram and actually on Twitter sometimes, you see a lot of the same things posted on.
I feel like they're just too
platforms.
similar anymore to matter for me. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was talking with you a couple of weeks ago, Casey, and I mentioned that for the very first time I got a negative comment on Instagram, which was kind of the exception that proves the rule.
Right.
So
that's so weird.
Yeah. So for the very first time, like I get negative comments every day on YouTube.
Every day.
But on Instagram, it's normally people keep scrolling. And anyway, the comment wasn't even that bad. It was, this paint job is whack. No, thank you. And it's like, that's not even that bad. Like it's not like I was just shocked that someone took the time to like peck that out on their phone, like, but where I'm going with this is, a lot of these places are surprisingly positive, and especially Instagram. Like there's no dislike button, there's a heart button, and if you want you can leave a nice note, but mostly you just keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. So I know that some people do their hobby streak posts on there, and if you're careful that it's not totally taking up your time. For some people, starting or maintaining or getting involved with a little bit of social media sometimes can be often a time waster, but sometimes can also get you a little more involved with your hobby and looking to get some output that you can share. Get some output that you can use to justify continuing your hobby streak.
Yeah. I'd say on Instagram specifically that it's like seeing people's hobby streaks and being able to keep up on there and in a basically a super positive environment is going to do more for your hobby than most anything else. Because you do build a following, you know, you're throwing your pictures up in tons of different hashtags, which means tons of different people are seeing them and they're just following you because they like what you're doing. It's inevitable, right? And it's really cool to see that. And you're right, there isn't really much negativity. I mean, I'd almost say you should respond to that comment and be like, okay, just like explain it almost. Just be like, look, like, I'm not mad. I'm not sad. Like, I just genuinely want to know. I'm fascinated.
I want to know more.
Yes, please
like,
don't.
Are you
not
okay? Is everything all right?
Right. Somebody left.
I almost want to like repaint this to like. Is there a way I could repaint this to make you happy? Like, I'm worried about you.
That's you know, that's a premise for a video right there. You take the one negative comment on Instagram and be like, I cannot stand for this. This doesn't happen here. And then you go, what can I do, sir? Tell me how to do this. And then you fix it. You make it right. Make it unwhack, Brent. You unwhack that model.
You know, that sounds like a rabbit hole that's going to cause me to get less hobby done, Casey.
Probably more negative comments.
That sounds really funny, though. Like, yeah.
I don't know. That seems like a good enough reason as any to like pay the model.
I mean, I spent like a couple of minutes looking at it and just like, you
got to screenshot that and just leave it up somewhere. Just be like, what? Like, somebody explain this to me.
I did a double take.
Yeah,
I did a double take. This is on Instagram, not YouTube, not and I gotta say that the hobby space on Twitter is very positive, but Twitter does have a thumbs down, and Twitter does have the worst people in the world, you know, easily interconnecting to everything. So
yes, which is something I don't like about it, versus Instagram, for hobby reasons like that, because like you're inviting negativity rather than promoting positivity, you know, in the small thing that we do. So
sure,
it's a big deal.
Sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's one way. Use social media or to get a little bit of outside encouragement and accountability. Classic.
Yeah, maybe a hobby streak would be good for me right now. That might actually be pretty good, just to hold to something.
Again, just making a little bit of progress every day.
Yeah.
Better than being in a I don't know what the word is, like just walking in a dreamscape of changing diapers and
yeah,
and never quite sleeping because you're waiting for the cries of a needy child. I don't know. I'm not a parent. I don't understand these things. Yeah.
On that front, though, not so bad actually. Like, and if you are a parent, you'll get what I'm saying. 3 hours between eating. So, not bad. Like, I think the goal is like by 6 months, you want like 4 hours or something. Or by 3 months, it's 4 hours. I can't remember. There's some, you know, numbers, cutoffs and whatever. But 3 hours in the first week, like, yes, thank you. Because that just means sleep. So it's not been like the worst thing in the world. Yeah. It's more that like getting adjusted to just having another person that I have to now take care of. So it's like where my son would be off at school, my wife would be at work. Oh, I can work all day. Now it's like my wife would be at work, I would be at work, kids at school, and we have another kid here because I cannot afford to put several children in daycare. Like that's like triple mortgage. It's stupid expensive. It sucks. Anyways.
So you should consider a hobby streak.
Yeah.
And I have kind of the offline version of that as well. So I've got another suggestion here, and This is something that I have done at points in my life, and this is a bullet journal, and it's essentially kind of like doing a daily planner sort of thing. But I have one right here, and essentially it's a notebook, kind of like diary sort of thing. And what you do is each day is a page, and that page, just put the date at the top of the page, and then it's kind of like a to-do list / notebook / what have you. So just Casey, we were talking about the possible idea for this episode, and I started a bullet journal today, and when I have done them in the past, they have been very useful. And so this is basically for every aspect of life. You're getting stuff done throughout the day, and hopefully it only takes a couple of minutes to actually maintain the journal. But it's just a really sloppy list of do this, do this, do this.
Right.
And so today, because I was excited to start the journal and knock things out, today was actually pretty productive. And it kind of goes along with the idea of it is fun to cross things off lists. 100%, so you can kind of start your day with okay, here's 3 or 4 things. They don't have to be big, but things that I want to get done today.
Yeah.
And so today, would you like to hear all the things I did today, Casey?
100% I do. Yes.
All right. I really don't want this to be 20 minutes long, but I got a lot of stuff done today.
That's fine if it's 20 minutes long. We don't got no place to be.
I edited the audio for my next video.
Ooh, exciting.
I responded to 5 emails.
5, wow.
I paid my credit card bill.
Good for you.
I straightened up my studio a little bit.
A little bit, okay.
I put hygiene down here, and that's I washed my hair. Right. I also whitened my teeth.
Ooh, extra step there.
And the washing the hair, that's, especially in quarantine, that's once a week. So that's actually, it's worth a bullet point.
That makes sense, yeah.
Again, they don't have to be big things. Let's see, I had a meeting about a local online wargaming convention.
Ooh,
so I think I'm going to, that's actually, that'll be a topic for later, but I'm going to do some. Yeah, that'll be good. I cooked some chicken.
Chicken's delicious.
Which is, something not necessarily do every day, but that's a couple more days of meals for me.
Yeah.
I went for a run today. You believe that?
It's nice.
Went for a run in the woods. Yeah. I watched and left a friendly comment on 6 different videos.
Not mine, though.
And I posted a hobby streak and an Instagram picture.
Oh, that's good.
Now, I have not crossed off record Paint Bravely episode.
You have crossed it off, yeah.
Man, I should get a pen. I think we're gonna do it.
Yeah.
We're almost there.
We're almost there. At least another.
And then also, I didn't get the pickup shots that I wanted for some of these houses. I want to get some glamour shots of some of those houses.
The sweet.
By the time we're done with this, I'm going to bed. That's not getting done. But you can. It's very easy to just move the things you don't finish. To the next day, which is always going to what we all do anyway.
Yeah, there are always going to be things that we just can't finish. You're feeling good. You put a lot on the list. That makes sense. I like that. That's a cool idea too.
And it's And I did not write all of those things down at the beginning of the day. I wrote some of them down, and kind of as you come back during the day and you're crossing stuff off and you think of something like, hey, I can knock this out. Yeah. And so maybe you come back, you cross a few things off, you write a few more things down. And, when I have been getting more health conscious or whatever, you can write anything down. So I also wrote today I woke up at 10 a.m., which is not great. But then again, we're recording a podcast right now at 2 a.m. So I guess it all works out.
That seems fine.
And
it's 8 hours. If you would sleep right now, it's just 8 straight hours. There's nothing wrong with that, man.
It's not like I'm leaving the house tomorrow.
Right. So, you're fine.
But you can write anything on there. So sometimes, when I used to really actively keep a bullet journal, sometimes I was tracking calories and everything, and so you could write that down there, or whatever you want. So I don't know, just as a life management tool, I actually really do appreciate a bullet journal. Sometimes I'm on it, sometimes I'm not. That particular one has about 5 false starts in it where I maintained it for a couple of days and then wandered off for a few months.
Right.
But I have, stayed on it for 4 or 5 months at a time.
Yeah.
And for at least normally the first 2 or 3 of those months, I'm more productive than average.
Is there anything like, can you correlate that with any successes in your life? Like you go, oh, I was on this for 4 months. Goobertown was built. You know what I'm saying? Like, is there anything like that, like significant that it is right alongside that?
It's helped a little bit with weight loss. Like if I have been, like trying to get in better shape or whatever, and I'm writing down weight and calories every day, and and then just having a list of ways to stay busy throughout the day. Yeah, like it's sometimes I can track that. Like, I lost 5 pounds over the past couple of months or whatever. But I don't know, and a list of things to do that's in a nice little book that you're not likely to lose. You have it, you write your list while you're having coffee in the morning or whatever. I've found it to be useful in my life. I should do it more often. In my life, I've tried lots of ways to try to be a better person, and this is one of the ones that isn't better than
pretty well,
some of the others. Yeah,
oh, that's cool. Yeah. I like that.
So it's a bullet journal is the way that I most commonly hear it called, but essentially it's a diary, 1 page per day. Write down stuff you want to do through the day and try to cross off as many as you can.
Yeah. That makes sense. I used to use the reminders app on my iPhone, which is essentially the same thing. You add a reminder, it puts like a little thing, check it off. Click it, it disappears. And then it kind of just keeps your lists all in order day by day. And I've done that, and it's been pretty nice. Like, I guess right when that app came out, I was into it, for a little while. And then, I don't know, just kind of gave it up. So
nice.
Yeah, I like that though. It's cool.
Making habits is really hard.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And being on it for a few days or a few weeks is often better than not being on it at all. So
yeah, that's for sure. I guess that kind of runs into like planning, setting aside time to do the thing. So if you really want to paint and you don't necessarily know the time that you have, talk with whoever, significant other, whoever you're around, I guess, that would need to know, or that you would need to talk to about something like that. Go, hey, can I have like 2 hours every Monday night? It's like, yeah, okay, cool. 2 hours. I won't bother you. It's like, cool. Now you got in a schedule, 2 hours of dedicated hobby time, and that obviously can go to whatever you want it to be. We can go deeper into that and, like bullet journal those 2 hours and then knock some stuff out, so we go deep on that. But the idea is like, figure out the time that you have realistically, especially if you need to talk to somebody else about it and get schedules cleared, right? And in that case, you don't have to feel bad about when you do take the time to do the thing that you want to do, which I personally like the best. That's usually how I roll. Like, it's a prearranged thing. I got X amount of time on these days, and then I set my goals not so much accordingly, usually way loftier than anticipated, but whatever. Still get them done somehow. Like, make a video in 15 hours a week, every week for the last 2 years. Let's do it. Yeah.
Yeah. And, I've heard of some of the painting motivation Facebook groups or whatever talking about 1 hour of hobby a night, or who knows if that's reasonable for everybody, but maybe it 1 hour of hobby Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, there's something to that, again, of getting a routine, scheduling it, blocking it out, having a plan.
Yeah, yeah. So there's someone just breaking into your house. Is that what's happening here?
No. Snuffles has found the big bag of cat food, even though she has a full bowl of food.
That makes perfect sense. Perfect sense.
Look, you fill time. I'm gonna go fix this situation.
Fill time.
She's just like trying to get into the bag and then sneezing at it a lot. I don't know.
Interesting. Fill time. Okay. Now that Brent's getting up again, we can kind of continue our conversation from earlier. So welcome back if you've been following that. So medical experiments. I know I keep mentioning that, and hopefully it doesn't get too old, but I think we should bring it up. So just reiterating that fact, that we started that. He hasn't followed through on that, and we really want him to. So if you could just leave a comment down and just say, Brent, what happened? And that's it. Just leave it really vague. I think it's perfect. And he's back. So, and then the bullet journal thing just kind of coincides with that. Makes sense. So yeah, I think we're good.
I agree or disagree.
Okay. Yeah. If you're watching on the YouTube channel, Brent was dealing with cat stuff. So yeah, he didn't hear the last 30 seconds or whatever.
Yeah, I never know if Casey is filling time appropriately or if Casey is having a little joke, having some fun.
Depends.
And then he just said bullet journal as soon as I put my headphones back on.
That's exactly what I did, Brent. That's exactly what I did.
Maybe I'll learn if I listen to this episode again someday. Maybe I'll never know, but
maybe he'll never know.
He's broken my trust before. And trust is earned.
I feel like that's every week. Yeah. So what else can we do to maximize our hobby time, Brent? We've got things like scheduling and planning and bullet journals, ease of access to your tools, that kind of thing. What else we got?
Well, do you want to talk about goals for actual output? I mean, we've talked a little bit about making sure that we are putting time in, but what about having it more results driven?
Okay,
I want to get 300 models done this year or 100 models done this year. What about either more quantitative or just knowing that you have, the simplest version is knowing that you have a game coming up, but what about the more goals oriented?
I like for me that works really well. Goal-oriented hobbying kind of pushes me. Sometimes it can be bad because if I set the goal just out of the park, right? If it is something like I need to do a video and it's not just going to be painting one guy, I got to paint a whole squad, or I need to kit bash and paint a whole squad or something crazy, then I usually end up taking it out on other people, which is destructive. Setting that as a priority, right? Instead of doing something I should be doing, or I'll be staying up too late, and not feeling good the next day or something like that. So it can get destructive if you're that kind of personality. If you said, I'm going to do it and you're going to do it, then, well, you need to think about that before you say what you're going to be doing. Right. But if you have a game coming up and it's hey, a couple of buddies or whatever, you're we've got a couple 100 points to paint, and that's a squad. You got a month to do it, or a couple weeks or something. That's pretty realistic in general. To sit down every so often and get something done to be ready for a game. And I've been in that situation plenty of times where it's hey, we got a game in a couple of days. Or Warcry or something. And it's okay, I could paint a warband in a couple of days. That's no big deal. Especially if I cut some corners, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Obviously it depends on your goals, right? So I'd say just know what kind of person you are before setting goals that are too crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, I think any time that there's a game on the horizon, I think a goal of this small squad can be ready for the next game, or the small, this small team. I think that's normally within the realm of possibility for a lot of people.
Yeah. That feels like a good amount, but not too much for any given hobbyist.
If you were a person who played a game every couple of weeks, that'd actually be a pretty good way to do it, is just say each game I'm going to try to bring a new painted character or something. One new thing to each game. That's a little hobby streak right there with some different units of measurement. But
I mean, what do they call it? Slow grow leagues. I think we brought that up before.
Oh, sure.
But that's the idea, is joining something like that to hold you accountable, I guess, because you're going to play a game. You're going to be in this with other people who are trying to do the same thing that you are. So that definitely works for a lot of people. And I think that's probably the coolest way to build an army. Like, if you can get into something like that, that's probably the best way to do it.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah.
Escalation League. Yeah. Slow grow, whatever you call it. Yeah.
East Coast, West Coast,
Yeah. So I've got one more piece of advice here, and we say this from time to time, but this hobby is supposed to be fun. Most of the time it is fun. We use the word work a lot, but we're working on things that we want to accomplish. That's why we use the word work, is because there is a feeling of accomplishment with this stuff. But if you do have a whole pile of different things that you can be painting, and a whole bunch of different paints that you can paint them with, it's okay to eat dessert first. You don't have to eat your Brussels sprouts. Like, just keep eating dessert. And
right. You can literally pretty much just do that always.
If you have a bunch of different projects you could be working on, always be working on the one that just sounds like the most fun.
Yeah.
I guess we can talk a little bit about you got all jazzed up to prime 200 minis, and I'm of two minds about whether you saved yourself any time doing that. But
that's a good question.
You got a lot done efficiently. I don't know.
I felt good about it.
Okay, hey.
Yeah.
Actually,
I mean, there's something about that.
If you were excited to do it, it is objectively a lot of paint put on models, and you felt good about it. So okay, I'm gonna give it to you. That's a solid win right there, Casey. Yeah.
All right. Well, a lot of them were Space Marines too. I just had a bunch of those.
I know there's a classic trap of people who love like assembling models and then never get around to painting them.
Yeah.
And I partially fall into that. I actually really enjoy assembling models. And sometimes if I'm just going for the thing I most want to do, it'll be taking something off the sprue and putting it together. Like a lot of times that's where I fall into.
I guess I've never asked you that question before. Where you fall in that camp.
It's something I've slowly realized about myself, but I am acquiring more assembled models than I am acquiring painted models. And I have fewer and fewer sprues until I buy more. But
right.
Yeah.
I'm like the exact opposite of that. So
yeah, so for the most part, as long as you're conscious about not just building up a pile of unpainted minis, for the most part, eat dessert first. Like if you want to paint your Terminator captain, that's what you should be painting. Yeah. I don't know what you want to paint. You gotta answer that for yourself.
That's true. I mean, it's gonna be different, and it could be different day to day. Honestly, like, sometimes I make a plan. I make plans. I got calendars for productivity for the YouTube channel. Like I put stuff together, and I go, this is what I'm doing in 2 weeks from now. I got that in this calendar. I'm doing it. And then I get to that week and I look at that model and I go, I'm not doing that. Like, I'm not painting that. And then I just look over somewhere else. I'm like, I am painting that. And it literally just flips my whole week. And that's just how it goes.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, I
happens to me a lot.
Yeah.
Like, I always have like 5 different videos I'm working on And
Yeah,
some of them keep getting pushed back, and some of them are just like, no, now is the time to
yes.
paint a Goobertown. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just a weird thing. Like I like living like that. I like hobbying like that because it feels exciting every single time I sit down, because I just have to see the model and go, yes, you are going to be saved today, my friend. Yes.
Yeah. I feel like I should paint Vlad, but I really want to paint Mephiston, so guess which one's happening first?
I did Mephiston and then I painted Vlad. That's right.
Yeah, but by the time you were done with Mephiston, Vlad was starting to look pretty good.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what it's exactly. Because I looked at, I've been looking at Vlad, okay, for a couple of years. And like, okay, I have like pretty all right painted skeleton warriors. That I had when I was starting to get into Warhammer. You know, I really like the vampire stuff, so I started buying vampire stuff. And in fact, all of my vampire stuff is technically painted. I don't think I have any unpainted vampire stuffs that I own. Of course, now it's all in different camps of like flesh eaters and whatever else. So I don't even know how that's going to end up with the new vampires. Whatever. But
who can say?
I bought Vlad, and he was painted. Looked like crap, whatever. But it was painted, and I didn't really know anything better at the time. This is a couple years ago, like when I really didn't know what I was doing at all. But like he was sitting there with all the skeletons that I have, just hanging out, and he's been hanging out on a shelf for years. And I just finally was like, today is the day, Vlad. And I stripped him and I painted him, and it was good.
That's the beauty of a pile of opportunity.
Exactly.
Is that it's a library, and you just figure out what you want to dive into, and there you go. But yeah, just in terms of maximizing your hobby time, if you are really excited about a project, that's how that project's gonna get done.
Yeah.
And to be careful with this, but if a little bit of retail therapy is gonna get you excited,
yeah,
I'll allow it.
Brent will allow it. And Cat is typing up his suicide note. Oh. Is there a cat on a keyboard? Because that's what it sounds like.
No, it's a cat on a scratching post. But I was making a really good point about, really dangerous point about if you're not super motivated to do something, but you go to your friendly local game store and there's a project you know that you would like dig into that afternoon.
Yeah,
I'll allow it.
Yeah,
I encourage it.
Yes.
Yeah,
I will second that.
I do.
Keep the budget friendly. Yeah, you don't want to overdo it, but
yeah,
reasonable.
I don't want to be blamed for
right, exactly. I don't want to hear the emails. Yeah. Right. None of that.
Right. No loan defaults or
direct all your
divorce filings.
To
hey,
Brent
that's your business.
Goobertown?
That's not. Yeah. Nope. No. So, look, do what you got to do to stay motivated and organize your time, and don't blame us. We're trying to help, but we don't got all the answers, and
yeah,
we certainly can't be blamed for the deep rooted issues in all of our lives. But
I mean,
so what do you say, Casey?
I can't imagine that we could be blamed for any of those things, but somebody will tell us why we are. So I'm sure. As far as I know, I don't have much else for this particular topic. I think do what feels right in the moment. Figure out some scheduling, whatever you got to do to just get in there. And I think more importantly, just having the access, having it somewhere where it's like you see it, right? You walk by it.
Yeah.
Because even if it's like I walk by my hobby area and I just pick up a paint and I go, a really nice color, You just pick it up. I'm gonna use this color next time. You just set that over to the side. maybe you walk away, come back another time, it's still right in front of you, right? You're thinking about it. So as long as it's hitting you in the face as often as possible, I think that, the top of the mind thing feels good. Now, as far as my personal situation, I still have no idea what I'm going to do, but, I feel better about it right now. Like I do. So, yeah, feeling good.
There you go.
Yeah. Excited to paint something. It's this guy. It's Jess Goodwin model. I'm actually pretty stoked to paint that, so yeah.
All right. You got something to be excited about there. Maybe you're awake, you realize that it's been 2 hours and it's only going to be another hour before you got to feed that child, and you say, hey, maybe I can get some painting done right up until the time that child awakens.
It's a good call.
That's when you go. Yeah.
It's actually a good point. I actually came up with this awesome video title. It's like super clickbaity, right? And it was specifically going to be like, can I paint 2,000 points of Warhammer while my child is sleeping? Or while my newborn is sleeping, or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to paint an entire army while this child sleeps. And I'm going to film it. Like, child is asleep, camera goes on that kid, time lapse. I'm working. You see what I'm saying? It's like every time that kid is asleep, I'm in the office, I'm painting. I don't know how to film that and make a cool video out of it, but it could be awesome.
You just start mounting camera rigs above the cradle.
Literally, yeah. Well, see, because I'd have her with me in like.
You did not have my permission. I will not be held responsible. I cannot encourage this or condone
over the
this.
top of a child. I've got long lenses. I got 200 mil lenses. They're fine. I don't need to be anywhere near that kid. No, I'm talking about like I've got a pretty alright sized hobby space. I can put a cradle in here with the kid. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't airbrush with the kid in the room, but
right, the tiniest gas mask for when you're airbrushing.
Yeah, exactly. So there are limitations
Little
in that
gas mask,
but I don't know. I just thought it might be. See that's a motivator. Like, can I paint 2,000 points while this kid sleeps?
Let us know in the comments below if you think Casey can paint 2,000 points of orcs while the child sleeps.
Actually, it'll have to be Death Guard because that's what I have to paint. Like, points wise,
Okay.
I'm just saying, I got 2,000. I did 2,000 points of orcs.
I know you did.
I did that.
Well, let us know in the comments below. I don't think he can do it.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just gonna.
I don't think I can do it either. But if forced to, I will.
Mm-hmm.
And on that note, yes. Thank you again for joining us on another episode of Paint Bravely. If you enjoyed this podcast, please help us out by leaving us a review on iTunes, subscribing to the YouTube channel, and sharing this message with your hobby friends. And as always, we appreciate each and every one of you for listening, and we will talk to you next time.
Talk to you next time. We appreciate you. Stay footloose.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that one. The footloose thing. Are you just shooting for like either thumbnail fodder or emoji fodder? That's what you're doing. I see you. Yeah, exactly. Like Matt had a good idea not too long ago. He's like, why don't you just sit there, go through like a bunch of the emojis that are on the thing, like on your phone, do each one, get them all cataloged so you have them all. Like you just have your own version of all of the actual ones. Yeah. Right. Yeah, okay.